Hello and welcome to Elephant and Roses. My name is Katie. This week, the video is on the Precious Fabric Challenge that's being hosted by Whitney at Tomcat Stitchery. And the premise of it is to use up the precious fabric that we've got earmarked for a special project, but we never get to. Or we just can't find the perfect pattern to go with the fabric. So, yesterday's was hosted by Island Socialist and Janine Sews. And I'll put everybody's information down below. So please definitely go check out the other vlogs regarding precious fabric. Today with me for today's, there is myself, which is Elephant and Roses, and my superpower. And then tomorrow, Whitney from Tomcat Stitchery will have another video. And it's on Instagram. There's hashtags Precious Fabric Challenge. So you can find everybody on YouTube and Instagram. Just put that in your search. The #/ sign. I grew up with a pound. Now it's called a hash. And then put in Precious Fabric Challenge and hit enter, and it'll pull everybody that's tagging that key phrase, and you'll be able to see a whole lot of great content both on Instagram and on YouTube. So definitely check it out. And then I'll put up here also the schedule as far as who's what days, so you can see if one of your favorite vloggers is there. For those of you new to my channel, my name is KT. If you're wondering about the name of my channel, it's Elephant and Roses. Elephant is the Danish spelling of the word elephant. Elephants are very huge in Danish culture. I'm Danish American, so and first to third, depending on what branch of my family tree you look at. I also have a little British Irish, so hence roses, because roses is symbolic for those countries as well. So elephants are elephants are very symbolic in Danish culture. There's the Royal Order of the Elephant. So you can go look up different things about Denmark and the elephants and how it all ties in. It's really cool. When you go there, you get to see a lot of it, which is how I ended up with this precious fabric. In 2019, after a very long time of trying to go to Denmark, and lots of delays and life happenings and etc., I finally got to go. I got to go for 10 days. It was my first international trip and my only international trip, and I went by myself. I did it as a solo traveler. I planned out the itinerary, figured out what I wanted to do. So I landed in Copenhagen, and then I took a commuter flight directly to Aarhus, and I spent several days in Aarhus, and then I started coming south along the coast of Jutland, and then I went across Odense or Dens back to Copenhagen, and then spent several days in Copenhagen before I flew home. So it was a wonderful 10-day trip, and it was just awesome. I got to see castles, and yeah, I got to see everything and anything. Wonderful country, beautiful fabrics and yarns and all of that. So it was phenomenal. Before I left on my trip, Saturday Night Stitch, she's another vlogger. I don't think she's taking part in this challenge, but she's a phenomenal one out of the UK. And she always showcases Berta Style magazine. And Berta Style magazine, for those of us here in the United States, is not available to us. It'd be great if it was, but it's not. So, and this is a copy of it that I got on my trip. And yes, it's in a different language. It's in Danish. So, but she showed it, and I fell in love with this top. I thought this top was just phenomenal. And I wanted to make it. And when you get this magazine every month, it has all the different ones. This is from March of 2019. And I was worried when I got there that I wouldn't be able to find a copy of this magazine, because I went the first week of April And so I was like, I'm going to miss it. And I'm going to have to wait for it to show up on the website. And if you give me a second, I will find an example of all the patterns you get. So for those in the United States who've never seen it, so when you buy the magazine, you get all of the patterns for all of these. And it's on big sheets of paper. I mean, huge sheets of paper. And all the lines crisscross. And you've got to lay tissue paper over the top, and you have to follow the code, the colors. And it is, if you've never done it, it's a challenge, but it's a great challenge because it makes you really stop and think, you know, how all of our lines and everything work together. And then you have to add seam allowances. So another one that was showcased in this magazine was this was an anniversary edition. And so they had a retro wedding dress. Not very often you see a wedding dress where you get it as part of the price of the magazine. So the pattern is in here for it. If my daughter ever decides she wanted to make a wedding dress, Mom's got a pattern. But I really fell in love with this top, and I really wanted to make it. So I looked over Denmark. I thought it'd be really cool to bring home the pattern and the material. Couldn't find anything that was what I wanted. It said it could be used with a viscose or a cotton. So I kept looking and looking, and I came home from my trip, and a few weeks later I found some material. I don't remember where I got it. This was 5 years ago, and this turned into the precious fabric, and it looks like this. And it's the same color as my eyes. So I have very green, very dark green olive eyes. And I thought this would be perfect. Before I got to make the top, my youngest son got very sick. And I went from being very, very active and out walking and hiking and doing everything and going to museums and doing all the things of life. And then when he got really sick, he was a young adult, and I just stopped moving. I started taking care of him and trying to get him over being sick. He's still fighting his health. And so I just didn't make it. I started gaining weight, and I am no longer the size I was when I bought this or the material to make it. So it ended up in my stash, and I was like, so when I saw Whitney saying that she was going to be doing this challenge, I was like, yes, I want to join because I need to get this out of my stash. It's been staring at me for 5 years. Will my weight ever go back down? My doctor assures me it's stress. It's just change of lifestyle. I stopped moving and being very stressed and having to move and everything else that goes with it. And it's just part of life. You can't change it. You can't do anything. But I know that there's other people out there that are struggling like me. And you're just like, wait a minute. I've never had a weight issue. Now what do I do? Because your body changes. It's different shaped. Do I look as good in that style as I used to? And all those things in your head. And then social media and all those things just jump into. And all of a sudden you become really conscious. And that's where I'm at. And I want to break out of that cycle. So I want to use this material. And I want to make this top. So part of the challenge is making a wearable toile. So that's what I started with. I took this cotton that I actually bought for my daughter. And then she changed her mind. After I bought it, because I was supposed to make her a top, and then she changed her mind and didn't want the top anymore, and I was like, okay. So I was like, we can handle that, no problem. So it's I can put a close-up picture. It's just a blue and white fabric. I don't like the color blue, so everybody knows this is truly a wearable muslin because I don't like the color blue. So I know that my daughter was really shocked when she heard I was using this fabric. So what I don't have it completed yet. It's I just have the top half done, which is I'll put better pictures in the waistband where the bow is. From there up, I've got it almost completed. And this pattern eats fabric. I'm just gonna tell you. I knew when I looked at the pattern and at my current size, this was barely, and I knew I was gonna be a version of yarn chicken, only fabric chicken, because yeah, it's barely gonna be enough fabric. Thank goodness I bought extra, because that is my normal thing. I buy a little bit extra whenever I buy fabric. Why? Because somebody either cuts it crooked, or the fabric requirements are off just a little bit, and all of a sudden you're going to be short. So I never go by the envelope. I always buy an extra half yard. So thankfully I did that. And so when I started doing this one, according to the thing, I had exactly what I should have had. I had as much as I do of this. So what I discovered is I don't have enough of this at all to finish. I'm short on the middle sash part. So I went digging, and I have this navy blue cotton. Don't know what it was from. This center sash on the wearable muslin will be this color. So now the question is, and so the question then becomes several, but the first thing is that I did not put the bows on the wearable muslin. If you look at the picture, which is up above, they're supposed to be this, one goes this way, one goes that way, and then you tie it in a bow on your wrist. I didn't do that. Why? I don't have enough fabric. I ran out. I just don't have enough. So what I'm going to do is, with the scrap pieces, I'm going to make two bows. One in this and one in the scrap of this. When I get the middle section done, there'll be enough left to make small bows. Nothing fancy, nothing big like what's in the picture, but smaller versions. And I'm just going to make it so that I put a snap. I got to get clever how I do this, because I made the cuff exactly like they said. So there's a gap here. That was supposed to be closed up, but what I'm just gonna do is put a button hole, and just put a button, and then you won't even see it. But what I'm gonna do when I make the buttonhole is I'm gonna a snap or a popper. I'm gonna put the flat part here, and then the button part that sticks out onto the bow. So then when it's snapped shut, I can snap the bow on, and I can make this more versatile. I can put the bows on that match the shirt, or I can put the blue ones on that I'll match the sash. So, and if I don't want the bows that day, I can just wear it without it. So the wearable muslin will actually get used. I don't like blue, but I'll be wearing blue because, well, I want to make sure this gets used. I'm very big into that. If I make something, I want it to be wearable. Other thing I discovered when I did this is how, if you don't like drop shoulders, this is not the pattern for you, because this shoulder seam is almost to my elbow. And when I looked at the picture closer, it's like that on the model too. So it's just the way it's designed. It is a true drop shoulder. So please keep that in mind if you like this. Otherwise, everything went together my fabric. Do I continue with the project and try to make the top and play fabric chicken, or do I find a different pattern and just use the fabric with that? Debated several things. Went through my stash. I found this green, which it's not even close. They're a different shade and tone. This one's more khaki, this one's more emerald. I know it doesn't show up here, but I'll put in a picture which will show the detail more. Because I thought at first I could just make some lace sleeves with the material on the end, and then that would free up the material from the two sleeves. And I would just pull the shoulder, instead of letting it drop all the way down there, I'd pull it back up here so it didn't look so
it looked kind of strange, I think, if I had lace sleeves starting here and going to the wrist. So I pulled the shoulder back up where it belonged, and then just make lace sleeves. And that would just be, it'd be more like an Edwardian technique where you butt the laces together and then stitch them. So then this pattern would be all the way down and look like one piece of lace when it's actually pieced together. So I thought of doing that, but this does not match. So I'm back digging through, seeing what I can find for material. Not really sure what I should do. I want to use this fabric, and I'd love to use it for what it was intended. So if you were me, would you find a different pattern where you weren't going to play fabric chicken? Would you try and locate some lace that more closely matches it and make lace sleeves? I'm not sure. I don't know which way to go on this one, to be honest. I know I could make it work. I know I could figure out a plan of some kind. I just don't know if I have the time, because I work full time, so I sew with the bits and pieces of time that I have. So not sure if I should do that, or if I should just go in my stash, find a pattern that I know is going to work, and that's going to look, that I know is going to fit me, that I know that I've got yardage to cover with extra to spare, and just go that direction. And then make another muslin, wearable muslin, like the blue one, and go that route, and just start again with the project with a different pattern, because it's supposed to be precious fabric, and that's what this is. So I want to be able to use it. After 5 years, I'm tired of staring at it. Every time I go to get a project, I see it because it's right there. I don't keep extra apparel fabric in stock at all. I don't have a big stash. I have my quilting cottons, and then I have like my apron fabrics and my quilting cottons, that kind of thing. And I make bags too, so I've got that material. I've had an Etsy shop before, so it's the hope to have another Etsy shop for the holiday season to help with generating some revenue, but also stress reduction. I know it sounds strange, but sewing, knitting, crocheting, embroidery, baking, all those things help reduce stress, for me anyways. I know some people find it very stressful. I find it very relaxing. I just zone out, and I can lose myself for hours in any of those crafts or hobbies. But the problem of that is I end up with extra. What am I going to do with the extras? Because I don't want to pile the extras up somewhere in the house. So I'd rather just sell them to have them find a new home, and somebody else can enjoy them. So that's the motivation behind that. So, but yeah, definitely leave me a like and a comment below. And if you like my channel, definitely please subscribe. This is what I'm working on currently. If you're wondering, for those new, if you're wondering what I'm wearing, this is the top that I showcased as my finished object in my last video. And I'll put a link to that video down below if you'd like to see it. It's a grasshopper pattern, and it is just a shell. So, and I talk a lot about it in my last video about all the ins and outs and everything. This is the second one I've made. I tweaked it a little bit from my first one, but then I just threw a thrifted cardigan over the top, and it looks pretty dressy. And I have jeans on right now, so after I make this video, I've got to go run grocery shopping. So I'm ready to go. But yeah, if you like this content, definitely subscribe. I'm still learning, and I'm still fairly new, so definitely leave me a comment, because I'm open to showing you anything and everything. I am a 5th generation fiber artist in my family. I was taught by my great-grandmother. She owned her own sewing business for 70 years. She was a seamstress before she retired. and her mother taught her, and etc. etc. And so I learned on a treadle sewing machine. So that's my fun fact for the day. Has anybody else used a treadle? You have a wonderful day. It was nice to see all of you. Please definitely leave me a like and a comment down below. Let me know what you would do with this precious fabric. If you would just go find a different pattern, or if you would play fabric chicken and use this pattern and just hope you had enough to make it work. So anyways, thank you, and it was great to talk to you, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll talk